review been written for me that I'll read. It says this book is a terrifically exciting story of international finance gone wrong, with political intrigue, CIA involvement, and a complex plot. It also has a mobile phone in it. It's also a sensitive look at what might happen to Cuba, as it necessarily will come out from under the influence of Castro's. Target Cuba is a riveting action-filled tale that you will be hard-pressed to put down, and will be hoping for the sequel as soon as you are finished. The author gives you a very high-level viewpoint, reflecting a lot of knowledge of international finance and political ramifications. It is well worth your time to read this thought-provoking action thriller. Well, that is the official promo. From what I read, I suggest that you buy it and read it as soon as possible before the book is seized and pulped and John is arrested by the FBI. But apart from that, I will introduce the author, John Cunningham.
Thank you very much. At my advanced age, being arrested by the CIA or the FBI, what could they give me? Life? I don't know. Cuba. There's a refrain that runs through Cuba from time to time, and basically it is that the Castro revolution has been a stunning success, except in 3 areas, and that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The book is a novel. The genre is action, financial. It's got a lot of politics in it, but it's action, action, action. And then at the end, we get into something more serious, and that is concerns I think we should all have for Cuba moving into a brand new age and a brand new life and people. And what concerns me is that Cuba is, of course, a communist, military, totalitarian dictatorship. Now, the Americans want to come in and participate in the new Cuba, but there's going to be a clash of real cultures going on here. I've actually seen the game plan for how the Americans want to go into this country. And what they want to do is they want a country which is going to take on democratic characteristics, become an open and free market. But the problem is, again, this is a communist, military, totalitarian dictatorship. The military controls about 80% of the economy of Cuba. That sounds a lot. When the Americans and the rest of the foreigners were thrown out in 1959 when Castro came in and took over, America owned 75% of the economy of Cuba. Havana was a mafia whorehouse. The barrios around Havana were some of the worst in the world. The population was about 60% illiterate. After Castro came in, he built up the schools, and of course, you're probably very aware of this, that their medical facilities in Cuba are fantastic. It's one of their big foreign exchange earners. So the thing that keeps Cuba going along now, because it's had real problems with the loss of Russia and now the loss of Venezuela. Venezuela's taken a hike. Not completely, but they're going to take a hike because they've got real problems. But the fact of the matter is that they're going to have to change, and they're going to have to probably look to America to a certain degree. But the parameters that America is going to put on Cuba are going to be very difficult for the Cubans to agree to, mainly because these generals who live like emirs in Cuba control so much of the money that's flowing in and out of Cuba with tourism and just the general economy of the country. So there's got to be a lot of work, there's got to be a lot of understanding. I have great fears for the Cuban people. As one of the characters in the book, Anna Coulter says, they're in the Hotel Nacional, and the two main characters are visiting with her. She's the Sunday Times representative in Atlanta. And she sits down with these two main characters and she says, change is always chaotic in Cuba. If you look at the history of Cuba, change has never been peaceful. It's always been violent. And she points out in this bar in the National Hotel, 100 people died in 1933 when Batista came in to vote. So why do we think that will change now? Why do we think we can have kind of this peaceful transition come in? It has to be handled extremely with care and concern for the people of Cuba. And you have to question whether the United States can pull that off. If you consider our recent history of Iraq, Afghanistan, Egypt, Libya, and now we're heavily involved in Ukraine. Can we go into a sensitive country like Cuba and do a correct job there? The other point, and the final point, is if you didn't know, Cuba is the most pristine country in the Western Hemisphere. And that's for obvious reasons. They haven't had any money to mess up the economy. So now the Americans, when they come in, we have to be very careful and very cautious and watch very closely. That like, the first people that show up is going to be Monsanto, and start taking over the agriculture of the country. So that has to be watched because Cuba is just a fantastic place for if you're into scuba diving and things like this. It may not be the best in the world for scuba diving in Cuba. Untouched, coral that exists only in that country. So I think when we step back and take a look at the whole thing, and the reason for this book, is that I really wanted to get across the idea as a concerned citizen that we're going to watch, and we're going to look, and we're going to make sure that the United States doesn't go in and make a big mess out of it like they've done with so many other countries. Okay, thank you very much.